Hi, my name is Ken Schwartz of Precise Sharpening, and today what I'm going to do is be reviewing a stone. This is a new stone that's been added to the series. This is the 220 grit, and this is it's labeled as a 220 grit bamboo stone. Now there is an additional 220 grit pink bamboo stone. This is of a different composition, and I'm going to use this to demonstrate a somewhat complex technique and also show some of the qualities of the stone. So the first thing I'm going to do is try out the stone and see how the water absorption rate is, and go from there, and then I'll talk about what we're doing as we use the stone just a little bit. So again, it absorbs fairly quickly initially, so we're going to let the water run over it for a little while I talk about the knife that we're going to be using for this. So this is a Spyderco Military. It uses a powdered steel. It's a CTS-XHP, the CTS standing for Carpenter tool steel. So this particular knife had a convex bevel put on it, and the final angle of the convex bevel was a 10-degree bevel. For the type of usage that I've been using the knife for, that seems to be a little bit too acute. So there are a number of choices we can use. One choice would be to put a microbevel on there, but we do have some edge damage over in a few areas, a little tip damage, and so what I'm going to do on this is to, instead of putting a microbevel on, continue to use a convex grind but without a microbevel, but increase the angle at the edge of this convex grind. So in other words, I'm going to be changing the radii of curvature so that the final angle at the edge of the edge is a bit steeper, and in the process removing some of the metal and giving it a little bit more of a robust edge than it has now. So anyhow, let's get started. Let's see how well the stone is saturating. Seems like it's saturating pretty well. Now again, you know, I haven't pre-soaked the stone, and even though the stone is of a similar construction to some of the coarser grits, because it's a finer grit, the saturation and porosity of the stone should be a little bit better. So what we're going to do is find the angle that the knife was sharpened at, so roughly right there, and you can do that by going forward and sliding there, and it grips. So that's the angle that it was previously sharpened to, and we're going to go a little bit more and also roll the edge so that it becomes a convex grind, or continues to be a convex grind, but a little steeper radius of curvature. So let's get started. Let's see what sort of characteristics we have for this stone. So again, that's about the angle, so let's get started at about that angle. And again, this is a very abrasion resistant steel. It does have some vanadium carbide in it. So let's see how it's going. Now, I am already starting to feel some burr on here, but I'm going to continue and go a little bit steeper. So it's obviously a very quick cutting stone. And I do want to clean up the tip. I can say also that when you're feeling the knife, don't use the flesh of your skin, but use your nail and run it along there, and you can feel chips very easily using this technique. So there's a few chips still at the end. So we're going to be cleaning this up, and again increasing the angle just a little bit. Okay, so I feel a burr all the way across right now, a fairly significant burr. That metal has been somewhat weakened. So now let's go to the other side. Let's take a look at this. And you can see that we don't have a sharp angle over here. You know, a clearly demarcated microbevel. But we do have an increase in angle all the way across. So that's working very effectively for the task we wish to accomplish. And we're going to continue on now on the other side. So first let's get this burr off of here. I might add also, this is a interesting little thing to do. If you have a piece of towel and you go along there, you can hear and feel it gripping when you have burr. So a towel can be a very useful little trick for more precisely picking up some of the burr. So what I'm going to do, start out somewhat acute, but go in a slope like this rather than straight down and without much pressure, so that I'm just abrading that burr rather than flipping it over back and forth by putting a lot of pressure on. Okay, that's pretty much taken care of, that burr. So again, this is very aggressive stone, working extremely well for the task. Okay, and if I feel on this side, I can slightly feel that burr. So we will do it on this side as well. And we really don't have burr on either side right now, so you can see when I run it along here, you don't hear it grabbing. Slight bit up near the top still has some burr. So since we've worked this primarily, we'll work this a little bit, and we're pretty much all the way home. So let's give it a little more water. And again, at this point, again, we're working our way up, not making a microbevel, but increasing the radius of curvature of the angle of the convex grind. So this will make for a little bit less delicate of an edge, but a much more robust edge than the edge that I had on there initially. And you can see it's not quite grabbing, it's grabbing right there. So that's letting me know that's a good bit steeper than the 10 degrees. I would estimate somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 or so degrees. We still have the thinning from the initial grind, which is to our advantage. And let's take a close look at this. All right. So I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the coarser grind towards the edge for about the thickness of my fingernail, which again will give it a little bit more of a robust edge. And this leaves us set up very nicely, very quickly, establishing the geometry of the edge so that it can be further refined with finer stones following this stone. So yeah, raging success for a very abrasion resistant steel. Took much less time to grind this than I was even expecting. We can see that the edge, obviously very clean cutting, very toothy edge. I think you'll enjoy this stone. Looking forward to hearing some comments from people. Again, this is available at Chef Knives to Go. Check out Ken's Corner, and you'll find it under the Nubatama stones, specifically the bamboo. So we can call this the black bamboo as opposed to the pink bamboo, which is already available, and there's a video that you can look at regarding that stone as well. Thank you for your time and attention.